Peter Delimitrou.
How are you? How you going?
Good, mate. Yourself?
Good, fantastic, excellent. Thank you for having me on your podcast.
Mate, thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.
Episode 3.
Yeah.
Keeping It Real Estate podcast.
Yeah.
So, mate, today we wanted to touch on marketing and presenting your home, something that I think is going to provide good value and content to anyone thinking of selling their home out there.
Sure.
And there's some really key points I think we need to discuss and sort of highlight in regards to marketing, advertising, and I suppose the key thing is presenting and getting your place ready. But yeah, we'll touch on those things briefly, and we can bring up a couple of case studies and some things as we go along.
Sure.
But Pete, tell us a bit about yourself. How long, you're one of our agents here at LJ Hooker. How long have you been in the industry?
Well, I got into real estate when I finished school, so I pretty much knew what I wanted to do once I finished school. And back then I had to complete year 12 to do my diploma in business real estate management, so that was a requirement, but I believe it's a bit different now these days.
Yeah, it is.
But I've been doing real estate now for 21 years,
Yeah.
So mate, time flies.
And you've always been in sales?
Always been in sales, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's sales is always what I wanted to do, so I said, I pretty much knew what I wanted to do. I love the challenge, the competitiveness of our industry. I love competing, for business and selling, listing, the whole side of it, helping people achieve their real estate goals.
Yeah, excellent. So 21 years, so you've probably seen a lot change over that time, especially in regards to what we're going to discuss, marketing and presenting your home's probably always been a similar sort of thing, but that there would be changes in that, especially, we've seen styling become a huge option now with vacant properties and other things like, getting virtual styling into photos and that, that's another thing that's becoming a big player in the market too, which, can save a bit of cost, so we can touch on that as well.
Well, it's all technology. I mean, technology's changed. When I first started, we didn't have internet, we didn't have email, so telling you.
So how did you advertise a property?
Well, it was more Southern Korea, like media.
So local paper?
Yeah, local paper. So, we'd do our sort of little lineage ads or book our quarter page or half page and all that sort of stuff. And so it was totally different. And, but I suppose, the newspaper only went to a certain area. So, I mean, obviously with the change in internet coming in and all that, you can market your home pretty much to the whole world. Yeah. Everyone knows about it.
Social media as well is a big player.
Stuff, yeah.
We're seeing a lot of off-market sales being done through social media, and we can touch on off-market as well and what that means. Yeah. But yeah, so what are you seeing out there at the moment? How are you finding the market?
I'm finding a lot more buyer confidence out there. I suppose the biggest thing too is there's not a lot of stock. So there's a lot of buyers, a bit more buyer confidence. Auction clearance rates are fantastic. They've been well over the 70s, even some weekends above 80%. I think a lot of it's coming down to also prior to the election, there was a lot of uncertainty out there with people. Which government's going to get in. What's going to happen. The banks played a big role too. It was quite tough to get a loan.
That's right. Yeah, we touched on that last week when I spoke to Max Harris, who's a mortgage broker, and he really highlighted the fact of now, the lending has loosened up a bit, and it's not as difficult to get a loan.
For sure.
I suppose I think sellers are maybe, because it has been a lot of negative media on the property market for basically a large percentage of 2019. I think there's still a bit of that lack of confidence from sellers, but I mean, from what we're seeing from a buyer perspective, that's not the case.
Correct. Oh, look, so I can speak for myself. Look, my numbers, and probably you would have noticed this as well. Like the numbers that are open homes are just like.
Exactly.
Gone up. Buyers wanting to get into the market and buy something. And a lot of it too, I think, is media driven as well. Like the media's been very positive about the market, like sort of not talking it down. It's funny because, like, in a way, and I don't mean this with any disrespect, but people are like sheep in a way, where we believe what we read and what we hear. And when the market's probably not performing so good, is probably when you should be out there buying.
That's right.
Because when the market turns around, then you've got more competition and you're competing against
That's
you know,
right.
everyone else and prices are going crazy and you're paying X amount over reserve, and you know, so you know, when you're being told not to buy, it's probably the best time to buy.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, yeah, look, the numbers are definitely picked up. I mean, I listed a 2-bedroom apartment in Waterloo 2 Fridays ago. Went on the market on the Friday.
Yeah.
Opened 24 hours later on the Saturday.
Yeah.
32 buyers, 12 contracts issued, and 5 offers, and we exchanged 2 days later.
Sure.
For significantly higher than the price guide. So it tells you what's happening out there. But look, I think one of the keys with that particular property, which I'll throw back to you, is the presentation of that property was immaculate. Like there wasn't the furniture, the styling, the photography, all those key components that you need to get right to attract those numbers through your open home in a 20, you know, in that example was a 24-hour period.
Correct.
You know, they're the real key things that we've got to get right. So, you know, I suppose the number one starting point, you know, is preparing your home for sale. And how would you do that? So I've got a home to sell, and I've called Peter and I said, look, I'm thinking of selling my home. Can you come around and have a look? And where do you go next from there?
Well, look, it's not about just putting your home on the market and, you know, hoping for the best. I think a lot of this comes down to having a good agent working for you as well, and being able to give you the right advice that's going to help with a sale and also achieve, you know, the very best result for the vendor. Because, you know, at the end of the day, you really only get one chance to make a good first impression. You know, because when a buyer walks through that front door, you know, they instantly make up their mind, you know, does it grab us or it doesn't grab us? You know, and I usually ask questions to my buyers after I've sold a property to them, and, you know, so when did you know this was the right home for you? And the response always is like, oh, as soon as we walk through the front door. So it's very important that the property is presented correctly from the beginning. You know, it looks fantastic, it looks its best. And the best way to probably describe that is, you know, when you go and look at a show home at those, you know, home exhibition properties. So, because when you're living in your property, you're sort of like, you're not in selling mode, you're in sort of like, you know, home living mode. You know, when you're presenting it for sale. And sometimes agents find it difficult to have that conversation with the owner because they don't want to offend them or, you know, say the wrong thing and, you know, lose the listing. So, but it's how you deliver it. I mean, obviously, the better the property's going to be presented, the more buyers that are just going to fall in love with it and hopefully, you know, pay that premium price. So whether it's, you know, giving it a coat of paint, changing carpet, it's a visual thing as well. And sometimes you'd be very surprised what a coat of paint will do. And,
that's right.
Change the whole view and the feel of the place.
And you've got to be able to have that conversation with the vendor too, because essentially you're sitting in there and you're saying, look, you may think that the place looks fantastic, but you know, they're obviously living there 24/7, and there may be things that their eyes not drawn to, and we're obviously coming in with a different perspective from a buyer's point of view, and what the buyers are going to look at and say to them, well, these are the things that we think they're going to pick up on. So let's eliminate that becoming a negative.
Well, because look, buyers are going to use everything they can to try and, you know, get the price down. So if we can eliminate all those finger pointing things that the buyers are going to do, it's certainly going to help us sell the property easier and get a better price. Because, you know, then the buyer, you know, because buyers say, oh, well, you know, I've got to do about $50,000 worth of renovations here because I've got to do this, I've got to paint, I've got to do this. You know, and a lot of this time, it's not major things. They're like more cosmetic things.
That's right.
So as opposed to like anything major. I went into an appraisal actually. The property's on the market with another agent at the moment. So I was actually called out to a property from an owner because I sold one around the corner, and this particular property has been on the market for, you know, for about 4 months. So the owner called me in. Obviously, they're finished with that previous agent. The owner called me in, and before I went any further, I sort of sat down and wanted to get an understanding of, you know, how their campaign was going, and most importantly, to like, you know, what feedback they were having from the buyers. So we can obviously
find out why it hadn't sold.
100%, because you know, we don't want to make the same mistake twice. And the biggest feedback that I got from the owner was like, oh, buyers were telling us, we had to spend too much money, like on the renovations. They wanted to do this, they wanted to do that. So again, it goes back to, as we said, with the agent having the confidence to be able to tell the owner at the time of listing, setting it up properly from the beginning in order to have a successful outcome, definitely. Because if you really look back at it, it's probably, what maybe the agent or every case is different. Every owner is different, but eliminating any negativity or negative points from the beginning to be able to utilize them and turn them into a positive.
Well, in my experience too, touching on that, a lot of buyers, especially your first home buyers, they've never painted a property, they've never changed carpet, so their perception of the value and what that costs to do can often be 3, 4, 5 times the actual amount. So by spending, on a 2-bedroom apartment, it might cost $3,000 to recarpet the property and another $2,000 to paint it, so $5,000. So if you instantly eliminated a buyer walking in and saying to you, well, I've got to paint it, I've got to change the carpet, that's going to cost me 20 grand. Because in their head, they don't know. They're coming up with a number because then that instantly brings down the purchase price. But also, a lot of them don't want to do it. They just don't want to do it. Now, obviously, a lot of renovation shows and stuff out there, so there are people out there who will do renovations, but the average person doesn't want to do that. They want to sign the contract, settle, pick their keys up, and I've done a couple of settlements in the last few weeks, and I'm literally meeting the buyers there an hour after settlement with the keys and the removalist trucks turning up. So they don't.
For them, they just want to move in.
They don't. When are they going to paint and carpet?
They want a turnkey property in a way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, but that's really good. That's really good advice, and I think it's it's something you can be on the front foot, and eliminating all of those negatives, like you said. It's something that the buyers can come in, and it's just extra conversations you don't have to have and try to justify what a cost is going to be.
Look, and for a small investment, up front could mean the difference of, do I get 1 million or do I get 1.1? And that could be the difference.
Also, and do I get 2 registered bidders or do I get 4 registered bidders at my auction? Because 2 of them don't want to do the work, so they're not going to turn up. They're going to go and look at another property, but they don't have to do the work. So I think it's a really important important factor that I think. But again, look, it comes back to the delivery of it too. As agents, we have to be able to sit there and without being negative. It's more we're giving the right advice to get. It's a process.
And I think the client will actually appreciate it in the end. Because as I said, look, it may be the fear of, what if I say the wrong thing or I offend them. What if I lose the listing, or I ask them to spend money and they don't want to. So I think it's how you deliver it.
That's right.
And obviously, case studies are the best thing you could use, because they're past experiences, and you can physically show the vendor, well, my owner's invested a small amount of money, but we got that 5,000 days invested got us an extra 50. So it is very important, and you want to attract as many buyers to the property as possible, and creating competition, more numbers, more competition, a better price. It's very easy.
Now, on the other end of that scale, we've seen it before where sometimes owners can take the renovation a little bit too far, and it can be quite unique, where you actually are limiting your buyer pool.
Correct.
So you need to find that medium where you're not sort of over-capitalising and spending too much money on the renovation, and you're whittling down your actual pool of buyers, because the way you've renovated the home is not to a lot of people's taste.
We do see that quite a bit. My advice to anyone doing anything, just use neutral colours. Colours that are never going to date, colours that are always going to be in fashion. Also too, sometimes we see people go and paint a feature wall. It makes a property look darker. So look, I mean, you're never going to buy the perfect property. You're always going to, add your own personal touch to something. But when you're doing these things, it's always best to keep it neutral and keep it simple, really.
There's always going to be, like you said, 1 or 2. If we can deliver a property to the market where the buyer can come in and tick 7 out of 10 boxes, 8 out of 10 boxes, and then 2 of them that they've got to come in and do over time, you're putting yourself in a good position
for sure
to open your property up to the largest pool of buyers. Would you agree?
Correct.
So Pete, another thing I wanted to touch on is is marketing and advertising. You know, it's interesting at the moment where that's going. You know, we obviously have multiple platforms that we advertise our properties on, and we touched brief early at the start on off market through databases and social media. So, what trends are you seeing at the moment in the marketing space? You know, you're out there obviously doing appraisals and up against other agents, and you know, is there anything you're seeing at the moment?
Seeing a variety of things where agents are offering the off-market approach to the vendor, obviously to try to save them money in marketing as well.
And what would that saving be roughly?
Well, you know, typical campaign could be anywhere from about maybe $3,500 to $5,500.
Yep.
That could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. I'm a bit 50-50 on that. I don't know what your thoughts are, because at the end of the day, my approach to that is, you know, you can show one buyer who likes the property and you get a price that you may be happy with, but what if you actually sort of, you know, showed 10, 20, 30 buyers, you know, create a bit of competition? Could you have got that little bit extra?
Yeah.
You know, the advice I like to give to my clients is with the marketing side of it, we can try that approach first, but at the end of the day, wouldn't you like to put your mind at ease that you've done everything possible, and when you are accepting that offer, that you know, when you move on, you can be sitting back in your lounge room in another 5 or 10 years time ago, you know, you won't have that doubt in the back of your mind saying, you know, what if we did that, what if we went to market, you know, could we have got more? But again, look, every scenario is different.
Yeah, I think
it depends on
different.
The client's circumstances as well.
I think because, you know, I've done quite a few off markets, and the ones that I've tend to have done is when I've sold a property and I've had 2 buyers on that property, right? And very close offers to each other.
Yeah.
Obviously the higher offer's been accepted. The other buyer said, look, I want something similar. If I know someone with a very similar property in that same building, you've obviously got a buyer that's offered a similar price, and you can take them across.
Of course, yeah.
And I think in that scenario it does work really well.
Yeah.
But in terms of just doing a general off-market and just pushing it to the database, you know, you're right. It can go either way.
Yeah. Look, every case is different. Like, you know, it could be like the one that you just said now, like about taking a buyer. You know, because you sort of set like you set a benchmark with the price, and then usually, you know, next one may sell for more. So
that's it.
Every client's needs are different, and
because you're going to base that next sale off that one anyway when you're setting the price. So it is. You're right. It's definitely a case by case situation. But look, some people sort of don't. When I've spoken to them, they don't actually quite understand what selling off market means. What exactly? Explain to anyone watching who might not understand what it is. Like, what are the steps? We're still doing photos. You know, we're still listing it to our website.
Well, yeah, I mean, still doing photos, still putting on your website.
Essentially, you're pushing it out to your database.
Yeah, to your database. Yeah, I mean, you're just holding off on your real estate platforms such as domain, realestate.com, signboard maybe, you know, putting it. So yeah, I mean, very just basic marketing. Yeah.
You've got the social media aspect too. You know, like I myself have sold a couple of properties just through social media advertising.
But then again, there's a question, like, you're putting it on social media, you're putting it on a website, is it really off market?
Correct. You know, and there's a bit, I've been reading some articles lately where, you know, some people are saying, well, it's not really off market. And I think the term off market basically just means you're not going to the portals, you know, you're not going to realestate.com, you're not going to domain. So you are limiting who is going to see that.
Correct.
But if you're dealing with a number of buyers for those specific properties in the recent sort of time frame, I think it can work, but you're right.
Again, it depends on the owner's motivation.
That's right.
Why they're selling, why they're moving. You know, they may need to sell quickly, where that may, you know, work. Yeah. Every case is different.
Yeah. Now that's off market. So then you've obviously got your on market.
Sure.
So that's going to your portals, to your realestate.com domain. Now I know you were mentioning to me that some of your recent appraisals, your competitors are sort of saying to the vendors, look, we think maybe you should just go on one of the portals, not both. Yeah. Explain why that's a bad idea.
Yeah, I went to an appraisal about a couple of weeks ago, and then I put forward my marketing submission, and the owner was like, oh, your marketing campaign is just well above what the other agent, you know, proposed. I said, how's that? And they said, oh, you're proposing realestate.com and domain.com. The other agent, only proposed one website, which I found very, very strange. But it was, they are doing that. I suppose also too, there's, with the lack of stock on the market, I think different agents may be trying different approaches to try and secure the business, maybe, be a cheaper option. Again, that may not be the best.
It's probably not the best for the seller, right? Obviously our job is to maximise the price for our seller, and
100%.
there may be some costs there that, unfortunately has to be incurred. The advertising costs are what they are. That's what the portals are charging, and that's what needs to be paid to get your property advertised. But some interesting stats. We've got some stats here on real estate versus domain, and this is the one that I was just talking about before, where we had it under contract after the first open, and you can clearly see here that on the two portals over the same period, over a week, one property has had 1,724 views on realestate.com, and then on domain, it's had 1,820. So if you take one of those away,
you're taking away half your market.
You're taking away half your market. Now, we know this for a fact that most buyers, and I do it myself, will use one of the apps, not both.
I do it myself as well.
I use one specifically, and I find the layout and the functionality of it better. That's why I use it. And when we talk to buyers at our open homes, I ask the question a lot. Where did you see it advertised? Especially when we're doing social media advertising, because you want to know that if your money's being spent there, that's where some of your buyers are coming from. But to take away, back to what you're saying, where there are agents proposing one, not both, it really, it's like how detrimental is it to your campaign to save $1,500?
I think it's madness, honestly. Because at the end of the day, like I said before, when you're selling, it's your most valuable asset. You only get one chance to sell it, one chance, right? And by taking away, half of your market, you could be eliminating that one buyer that's going to pay that premium price. So
Well, I had that property in Kensington.
I was actually just going to bring that up.
The one in Kensington, the two-bedroom apartment that you showed when I was away.
I mean, that wasn't a case of you recommending. That was a case where I believe the vendor.
Look, the vendor had this strong opinion that
about one side.
Realestate.com was the only place that anybody looks, and not domain. I obviously put my argument forth. I bought all the statistics, I bought all the information. We just had an open the week before where most of the buyers actually came from domain, not real estate, close by, just up the road. And obviously it's their choice. We just have to put forward the best option and give them our advice based on what we're seeing day to day. And we put it on realestate.com, and the numbers were okay. They weren't great. For a top floor apartment with some fantastic views, you've been inside it, you knew it was a good floor plan. Older buildings, so none of the issues that we're seeing at the moment. With solid as a rock, built 40 years ago. And the numbers were really low, and it was a concern, for me and the owner. They've invested some money in the marketing, and we just weren't getting the return. And after a couple of weeks, I said to the owner, look, we've got to get onto domain. We have to. It's just the evidence is there, and put it on domain. Numbers doubled the next week. Doubled again the week after, and we had it sold after that. We had 3 offers after the second week it was on domain. So that's another case study where we can we can really highlight to people how important it is to be on both of those portals.
Well, I actually asked the clients at the appraisal, at the listing presentation, and I said, well, do you look on both? And the funny thing was, they were actually thinking about it for a while. They were thinking that the one website was okay. And I actually said to them, do you honestly do you guys both look on both? And they're like, the husband looked at the wife, and the husband said, oh, I really look on real estate. Then the wife said, oh, I mainly look on domain. And I said, guys,
there you go.
There's your answer.
You've
answered your own question. And I mean, imagine if you guys were on a dating site, you would never have met. But the thing is, so you would have known about the property, but you would not have known about the property. So you could have been that buyer that was going to pay the premium, but you never had a chance because you didn't know.
And when you're selling, you want them both to know about the property.
100%.
100%.
Definitely.
So it's an interesting thing we're seeing more of. I don't know why it is, whether I don't know whether agents are thinking because their marketing is a bit less than the others, it's going to get them the business, which is really the wrong
attitude.
It's the wrong attitude. You know, our job is to maximise the price for the seller and to put forth. You know, I mean, we've got marketing options where we could put $10,000 marketing campaigns together. Yeah. But obviously, that's a lot of money to spend on selling your home.
Every property is different. Like there's a time and a place. But look, at the same time.
Well, was the one on Hastings, that beautiful Federation home you sold on Hastings Street in Botany? Yeah. You had a pretty big campaign put together for that, and you ended up getting what, over $2 million for that property?
Yeah, 2,430. We ended up breaking the record in
How much?
2,430.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So we ended up
in Botany.
Yeah. So that was a record.
And that was with a big campaign, right? That was, you know, what did you do there? What was the advertising options?
Oh, we had our premier realestate.com, Priority Plus on domain. We had some newspaper advertising.
So local?
Yeah, local newspaper advertising.
Did you find that drove any more traffic through the property?
Majority of our buyers were coming through from online. But again, my owner didn't want to chance it and didn't want to miss a buyer. So you know, and he understood the importance of the marketing side of it. And again, for a small investment, he ended up getting a record price and got the highest.
You had a video. You did a property video for that one too.
Yeah, we did. We did everything.
Yeah. So you know.
Property video, social media, internet, e-brochures, signboard, the whole thing.
Well, look, videos are huge at the moment. Obviously, social media is driving traffic as well. You know, I myself use social media quite a bit with some targeted ads, and I find the videos do get more traction. And you know, in this sort of Green Square area where we're servicing, I know you tend to do a bit more sort of South Sydney. You sort of do what, your Roseberys, your Mascots, your Botanies.
Yeah, Southeast, pretty much like Mascot, Botany, Rosebery, East Lakes, Kingsford, Kensington. Been doing a little bit in Brighton as well. So,
And I think the demographics in those areas, and especially around Green Square, is, you know, they're all in that sort of tech savvy age group where you can drive extra traffic to the property through social media, and I think it's a really key component. You know, when you're selecting your agent, are they across those platforms as well? Because it's really important to be hitting not just domain and real estate, but you may have some passive buyers that are not even, you know, maybe on those sites at this present time. Something pops up that might be of interest to them. I think that it's really, you know, it's a really interesting time with marketing and advertising. Going back to what you said at the start, you know, your little line ads you know, the way that there was no internet, so
we had to get back to the office to check the spike. Do we have any messages? Like, there was no email. It was
So it's definitely changed. It's
definitely changed. So a long way.
So, mate, that's really good information. I think that's going to, you know, provide some good value to some to anybody out there that's sort of like, where do I start? What do I do? What are the first steps? You know, and
the other thing too for a vendor, like, never pick the agent that is the cheapest. Go with an agent that you think is going to be able to work with you, and you know, who you feel comfortable with, and who you think is going to deliver the best result at the end of the day. Because like I said to those people, you know, if I'm not here telling you why you should be advertising on both sides, I'd be negligent. Maybe I'm not your agent. I don't want to cut any corners. And you know, do the wrong thing by you. Even if it's my own mother, father, sister, brother, I'd be giving them the same advice.
That's right.
Don't cut any corners.
And that's our job.
100%.
Our job is to advise them on the best strategy and the best way to maximise their price.
Correct.
Look, we didn't really touch on this, things like styling and that type of stuff too, which we didn't go into too much. But look, that's something that can be a more personal conversation, one-on-one with anybody who you know, wants to go down that avenue with maybe an investment property where the tenant's moved out, or you know, they've moved out of their home and ready to sell. So, so areas, Pete, that you sort of focus on, like you said, you're doing sort of that whole South Sydney, southeastern area, and even a bit of Brighton at the moment. So. If anyone's looking to possibly get an idea of what their property's worth in those areas, or you know, discuss anything that we've brought up today, can get in touch with Pete. I'll have his details in the bottom of the video, and anything you need to know, get in touch with him. But I hope this video has given some good insight. Thanks, Pete, for joining me.
Thank you for having me. Really appreciate it.
All good.
Really enjoyed.
Christmas coming up, so
definitely,
it's a good time to start putting that plan in place now. If you're thinking of maybe making a change next year, having that discussion now, and you can start getting things in motion. Because I know photographers get booked up, stylists, all those type of things. Tradies, if you're going to do any work, they're often booked in advance. So it's a good time to have that conversation now, even if it's just to get an idea, and even if you're not thinking of possibly making a move until mid next year, it's good to have that chat now.
Always have an idea on what your property may be worth. So.
That's right. In the current market.
Definitely.
Awesome. Thanks, mate.
a lot. Thanks,
Cheers.
John.